Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will show you how to make yourself those ruins in the middle of a mountain. As you can see, you will be able to remove some walls, but you will also be able to remove completely the second floor for easy access. My name is Ben, and without further ado, let's jump right to it. To start this build, you will need a big sheet of XPS Foam in order to use as a basis. Then, you will trace on it the shape that you want for your basis. And finally, with a compass, you will trace a circle that will be used as a basis for your ruins. On my side, I did a circle of 22 centimeters, but I quickly realized that it was too big for my basis, and then I redid another one of 21 centimeters. When ready, you will simply cut the excess XPS foam with a knife or with a hot wire. And then you will start to carve the shape of the cliff. Here I'm using a hand wire cutter, but you can also do it with a knife with some patience. Take your time and try to remove layer by layer rather than removing a big chunk of XPS foam. Indeed, it will give the more natural looks to your cliffs. And again, for a more natural looks, don't hesitate to vary the angles. By cutting like that almost vertically, you can make a very good steep cliff effect. And here you have the result after some cuttings. The effect is already pretty good, but if you want, in order to improve the natural looks of the cliff, you can go even more in details. If you want to do that, you will take a hobby knife and you will do a lot of small cuts all around the basis. As always, please be super safe while doing that. And again, don't forget to vary the angles with each cut. And for the final touch, you will take some aluminum paper, you will roll it into a ball, and you will use it to texture the cliff. Don't forget to do the sides, but also the top. And in case you don't have any aluminum paper, a rock from your garden will do the trick. And this should be your result after those first few steps. The next part is not mandatory, but I strongly believe it gives to the whole build a far better look. Basically, the whole idea will be to dig the interior of the circle in order for the first floor of the ruins to be below the ground floor of the mountain. Here again, it's best to work with layers. As this step will be a bit long, it's the perfect time for you, if you like this build so far, to put a comment below this video or to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me to grow the channel and to continue to provide you with video every month. So thank you very much in advance if you took the time to do it. And now let's back to the video. Here the idea is to be as flat as possible, but don't worry if it's not the case, because in any way we will cover it with some wooden floor. And once you are happy with the basis, you can apply 2 coats of grey. And while the paint is drying, you will use some leftover XPS foam in order to cut a circle of the same size of the circle on your basis. You can do it freehandly, but you can also use my homemade circle cutter. In the corner, you will see a link to a video in which I explain how to make yourself this circle cutter. And don't worry if the circle is not perfect or complete, because we'll only use half of it. And once you have your half circle, the idea will be to cut it into 2 exact pieces as slim as possible. I believe half a centimeter will be perfect. And now you will use both pieces in order to make the floor ultra flat. And now you can see that it was cut in half in order to make it easier into the ruins. Now that you are sure that the size is correct, you can also paint it with 2 coats of grey. And finally, to further improve the looks of the mountain, you can glue some sands or some gravels. To do that, simply apply some tacky glue and dilute it with some water. As usual, for a better illusion, try to mix and match different sizes of gravels. Let everything dry properly and again apply 2 coats of grey on the stones. In the next step, we'll make the wooden floor. To do that, you will simply glue to the circular basis some bamboo coffee stirrers. For more stability, I glued some leftover cardboard below the circular basis in order to make it as flat and as leveled as possible. Again, for stability reason, you will want to glue the wooden floor perpendicular to the circular basis. And finally, for a nicer look, you will want to shift the planks between each row. And don't worry, the side does not need to be perfect because we will cover it with some bricks. If you follow my channel, you should already know how to make some bricks out of foam, but for the newcomers, I will do a short recap. First, you will take a long strips of XPS foam with a height of 2 cm. You will texture it with some aluminium paper, and you will cut this strip into pieces of 1 cm by 1 cm. If you do it one strip at a time, it can be quite long, so use this technique to do several at the same time. Depending on the look you want to achieve, those bricks might be a bit too sharp. So you can use this technique in order to make them a bit worn out quite quickly. If you need a bit more details, I have made a dedicated video on how to make bricks out of foam. And now that you have a bunch of bricks, it will be super easy. Simply glue them all around the circle. And now that you are done with the first row, for the next one, you will shift the bricks to be in the middle of the previous one. If you followed my tutorial, the bricks that you just made are about 2 by 1 by 1 cm. In DnD and Warhammer, usually the floor are about 6 or 7 cm. It means that for each floor you want to do, you will need 6 or 7 layers of bricks. Now, if you want the second floor to be removable, you will need to be really careful as from this step. You will need to place some wooden dowels as a basis for the second floor, but of course you will need to be really careful to not glue them to the below bricks. Then, the tricky part is that you will need to put in place a full layer of bricks that you will not glue to the previous one. So you get the first layer of bricks of the second floor that is not glued at all, and you will only start to glue the second layer of bricks of the second floor. At the same time, you can replicate the technique of the first floor in order to do a wooden floor on the wooden dowels. And of course, you can replicate this whole process in order to do as many floors as you want. On my side, I stopped at the second floor and I gave it a demolished look by arranging the bricks and the plank like that. And as usual, once you are happy with the build, you can give it 2 coats of grey on the stones and 2 coats of brown on the wooden parts. And for the walls, in order for it to be removable, once everything is dry, you can simply use your hobby knife to cut the part that you want to be removable. For the paint job, I simply use some dry brushing techniques. If you are interested to see it in detail, I have made a dedicated video. I will put a link to it in the corner. To further improve the looks of the mountain, you can make some rock formations out of cork. the paint job will be exactly the same, and if you place them carefully, it will really give the impression that the runes have been carved directly within the mountain. To do that, you will simply use some tacky glue. And with this last step, the build itself is completed. But if you want to further improve the natural looks of the mountain or to make it as if the runes have been overgrown, stay tuned for my last tricks. On Amazon, my wife found those fake moss that are usually used to cover the pot of fake plant in interior, but I really believe that they are the perfect scale to represent overgrown vegetation. It's super cheap and it's available in different colors. Here you have an example of light green. And to attach it, you will simply use some tacky glue. And finally, the final step will be to glue some shrubs from Army Painter. Despite the name, I found that lowland shrubs are perfect for mountain area like that. You will find some Amazon links to the stuff I used in the description of this video, but for the sake of clarity, I'm not sponsored and none of those links are affiliated. And finally, I believe that this build works perfectly with my previous video about circular staircase. So if you like it, don't hesitate to go check it out. If you made it this far, thank you very much for your support, and now I leave you with some beauty shots of this build. Thank you and see you next time!